Psychology of a child who grew up too fast. It sounds like me. I feel like I was an adult by the time I was like 8. I'm being dead ass, bro. Like, my parents didn't raise me at all. You know who I was raised by? Professor Oak, the Deku Tree, Arthas, right? Varian Rin? Yeah, World of Warcraft. My guild leader, Julian. My parents didn't do shit. Like, dude, I was so black-pilled early on. I remember when I found out that Pokemon weren't real, I sat in my kitchen with a butter knife to my throat and tried to kill myself. And my parents, or my parent, walked in and just laughed at me and took the butter knife away. But I'm being serious, bro. My game plan for getting a job when I was younger was to get hit by a bus and collect money from the government. I'm being just, bro, I hated the idea of life. You know, I see these kids who hear they have to get a job when they turn 18 and they just start crying. I don't blame them, bro. I don't blame them. Oh, you're telling me the moment I get to turn 18, my life's over and I get to work a job I hate for the rest of my life? Yeah! Jesus. Anyways.
No one notices at first. You're 7 years old, staring into the eyes of a parent who is falling apart.
There it is.
Maybe it's addiction. Maybe it's anger.
Yeah, my mom had crazy BPD.
Maybe it's just the hollow silence of someone too broken to show up. And without words, something ancient clicks in your small mind. If I don't hold everything together, no one will.
Oh my God, bro, this shit is so real. My family was a fucking mess. I'm not even gonna get into what some of my siblings did, but my mom would beat the fuck out of us. And I couldn't bear to stand watching her beat my brothers. So I would intentionally act out that way she would beat me, because taking a whooping to my ass was easier than watching my brothers get beat. Like, bro, it was so bad. Every day she'd come home, any issues she had with her job, she'd take out on us. Oh my fucking God. And you know, as I grow older, I get it, right? I want to get it, right? Because she was a single mother, having to take care of 4 kids. 3 of them were shit. I was an angel. And I understand the stress that goes in on a parent, but like, my God, bro, it was rough. Hard fucking times. One broken human being taking care of 4 kids, it does not end well.
This is how a child disappears. Not physically, but psychologically.
Yep.
They smile more. They cry less. They learn to read the room before they speak. They become the emotional thermostat of the household. They become small adults long before their minds are ready, and the world praises them for it. You're so mature. You're so responsible. You're so strong. But no one ever stops to ask, at what cost? This is the invisible grief of those who grew up too fast. And today we're going deep inside the psychology of that child.
Man, this is
because
crazy.
The effects don't vanish with age. They shape you. They follow you into relationships, careers, your sense of worth. And if you don't understand what happened, you'll spend your adult life repeating the survival patterns that once saved you, but are now slowly killing you. Let's start with what's really happening developmentally. When children are forced to emotionally support adults instead of the other way around,
it's so
psychologists
bad.
call this parentification. It's when a child becomes the caregiver, the peacekeeper, the therapist, the protector. This isn't just unhealthy, it rewires the brain, because when a child is consistently put in charge of emotional regulation, either their own or others, it creates something called hypervigilance. You're always scanning for danger. You walk on eggshells. You learn that love is a transaction. You give peace, and maybe they'll give you safety.
I feel like this is hitting home for a lot of kids who grew up in the same era as me. I do. I really feel like especially, I think this is hitting home for a lot of people who have divorced parents. Hypervigilance, Jesus Christ, bro. I've heard that word quite a lot of my life.
You learn that your needs are dangerous, and theirs are urgent. So you disappear, not physically, but emotionally. And in your place grows a version of you that performs well. You become the good child, the quiet achiever, the therapist friend, the one who never asks for anything.
Oh, bro, growing up as the therapist friend was always fucking terrible. Because I remember that, like, when I was younger, I was, like, willfully ignorant, and I thought I could, like, fix people, right? And, like, I could legitimately help them with their issues. Here's the cold reality. People aren't going to change unless they want to. You can't make someone change. It's very true. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And when you realize that, like, you know, your heart's in the right place and you want to help these people, but you just fucking can't. And that does sound depressing, but it's actually very freeing, because then rather living your life for other people, you live your life for yourself, because you realize you can't help these people. And the only ones who can do that are them. So you're just going to have to let them.
And you wear that identity so convincingly that even you forget it's a mask.
Yep.
But deep down, something hurts. Something aches, because the inner child you buried didn't die. They're still in there screaming silently, "Why didn't anyone protect me?" As you grow older, the symptoms become more complex. You might become hyper-independent. You refuse help, push people away, or never feel truly safe in love. You might feel numb during happy moments, because joy feels unfamiliar, unearned, even dangerous. You might struggle to rest because productivity is the only way you've ever felt worthy. And worst of all, you might not even realize you're still stuck in survival mode. Because when dysfunction is normalized early, your nervous system accepts chaos as baseline.
Jesus.
Stillness feels wrong. Peace feels suspicious. Love feels like a debt you'll have to repay. This is the psychology of a child forced to grow up too fast. It's not just sadness. It's a complex trauma that reshapes how you view the world, and more importantly, yourself. Now, you may ask, why would any child willingly take on that role? Because children will do anything for attachment, even abandon themselves. The choice is never conscious, it's biological. In the absence of safety, the child sacrifices authenticity for belonging. That's not weakness, that's intelligence, that's instinct. But the tragedy is this: what saved you then imprisons you now.
Jesus.
So many of us are walking around as high-functioning adults, with deeply neglected inner children pulling the strings. We overachieve to earn love. We stay silent to avoid abandonment. We take care of everyone, but secretly wish someone would just ask if we're okay. And that fantasy, that someone will notice you're not as strong as you pretend to be, that maybe, just maybe, you'll finally get to fall apart and be held. That is the unmet need, not of your adult self, but of the child who never got to be a child. The first step to healing isn't fixing.
I feel like the majority of men have ever, I believe the majority of men have never been told that it's okay to cry, and if you need to talk, I'm here. But I feel like every single woman has heard that in their entire life. I believe almost every single man on this earth has experienced an immense amount of emotional neglect, not just from other people, but by themselves as well, because every single show normalizes it. Every single talk show host normalizes it. Everything in our culture normalizes it. And I believe that's why so many men grow up so fucked up, because they're told to just be fucking emotionless zombies to tank infinite issues and infinite hate and infinite neglect for their entire life. And it's true, like as a man, you know, it's the same thing with compliments. I believe women just get showered with compliments every single day. They grow numb to them. Whereas if a man gets complimented, they remember it for the rest of their life, because it's only probably going to happen a handful of times.
It's witnessing. Because until you validate what happened,
9 out of 10 men get their first flower at a funeral. Ain't that some fucked up shit?
you'll keep gaslighting yourself with thoughts like, "It wasn't that bad. Other people had it worse. I turned out fine." But fine is a mask too, and deep down you know it. So what happens to that child? When they grow up, they become adults who never feel safe, even in calm rooms. They become lovers who can't trust softness. They become givers who can't receive. They become the kind of people who apologize for crying, flinch at compliments, and confuse exhaustion with success. This is the cost of growing up too fast. Because if your childhood trained you to be strong at the expense of being soft, to be quiet instead of honest, to fix others while ignoring your own fractures, then what kind of adulthood do you inherit? You inherit a life where you're always holding your breath, waiting for someone to give you permission to finally fall apart. But here's the truth. No one's coming to rescue the child you buried. You are the one who must go back and hold their hand. You are the one who must say what no one else ever said. You didn't deserve that.
The first time I was ever told that my parents were proud of me was when I was 26 years old. I remember it too. I was at Cracker Barrel. Yep. I was at Cracker Barrel. I was 26 years old. Pretty big. Pretty big moment.
You were just a child. You get to rest now. This is the beginning of shadow work. Not fixing, not performing, not bypassing the pain with fake positivity, but turning toward the abandoned parts of yourself and saying, I see you now, I hear you now, and I'm not leaving. That is the reparenting process, and it's brutal because it asks you to feel the grief you never had time to feel.
Hey, you know what's crazy? Despite hearing all this, despite hearing like how it's okay to like, you know, go back and like try to fix yourself, I still will never do it. And I'm being honest, like I know what I went through when I was a kid was fucked up. I know the way I carry myself now is unhealthy. And I'm never going to change that because I'm just going to stay locked the fuck in forever because I've already figured out how to swim through the shit and the razor blades and the blood. And I got way more work to do. I got way more goals to hit and I know what's unhealthy, but I'm going to do what needs to be done regardless, despite knowing how fucking unhealthy it is. And I'm never going to cry. I'm never going to do it. You know, if it happens, it's on accident. I'm never going to let myself do it. I'm going to never let myself feel because I got work to do, man. I got a family I'm trying to build. I got people I got to put on my back. I got businesses that rely on me. And I know it's unhealthy, but the reality is the world doesn't allow you to operate healthily. It doesn't. I'm never going to cast like shade towards somebody else who has a moment of weakness, but I myself, I'm going to limit the amount of time that I ever get to that point. It's just, isn't this a man thing? It is. It is just a man thing. And it sucks because it is toxic as fuck. But the reality is the world is toxic as fuck. And you have to become the monster that the world needs you to be.
It asks you to sit with the rage, the sorrow, the unmet needs, to weep for the birthdays where no one showed up, to mourn the innocence you lost while protecting people who should have protected you.
Like, I'll give you an example. My wife stubbed her toe and she cried for 15 minutes. And I sat there and I consoled her and I said, it's okay. I checked her toe. I even gave her toe a fucking kiss. And then I gave her a kiss on the forehead and I said, it's going to be okay, sweetheart. You're okay. You want me to lay you down in bed? You want me to give you an ice pack? And then the other day I find out I'm $500,000. I owe $500,000 to the IRS. I say, damn, that fucking sucks. Okay, well, I got work to do. No crying, no tears. Just acknowledge the shitty situation. Move forward. I got fucking work to do, brother.
But that grief, it's not weakness. It's proof that you're healing.
You gotta tank it, man.
Because what was once frozen is finally thawing. Now let's talk about how this survival pattern shows up in adulthood. Subtly, tragically, and often invisibly. You might become a therapist in all your friendships, but never let anyone truly see you. You might be praised for your independence, when deep down you're terrified of being a burden. You might be in relationships where you overfunction, always fixing, managing, over-explaining, and wondering why you feel resentful. You might struggle with boundaries because saying no still feels like betrayal. These are not personality traits. They are coping strategies, learned, conditioned, and, the good news, unlearnable. But only when you stop idolizing your strength and start honoring your wounds. One of the most powerful things you can do is ask your inner child, what did I need back then that I never got?
I'm not going to talk to my inner child. I don't talk to children. I'll let Dean Withers do that.
You may hear answers like, I needed someone to tell me it wasn't my fault. I needed someone to ask how I was doing. I needed to play, rest, laugh without fear. And slowly, very slowly, you begin to give those things to yourself, not to fix your past, but to stop reliving it. This is how you stop seeking parents in your partners. This is how you stop mistaking anxiety for intuition. This is how you stop running from the child you were and the self you're becoming.
I will say, the reality is, I hope that video helped a lot of people, but I feel like a lot of people are like me, and they say, wow, yeah, I am really fucked up, damn. Like, I do have a lot of trauma. You know, oh man, I didn't get a good childhood. Well, anyways, I got fucking work to do, and you keep on moving forward. But while you're moving forward, maybe do check in on yourself and see if there's at least a little bit that you can fix to prevent you from getting where you need to go. But at the end of the day, real men, we got shit to do, and that's the reality of it. It may be toxic, but so's the world we're living in.